Yesterday's return of Nelson Cruz to the majors seemed to energize the Rangers. 3 hits, including a 3-run home run, will do that. Kevin Millwood certainly gave the team a lift in his last start. A complete Game 6 hitter will do that. Tonight, Nelly's in right and Millie's on the mound as the Rangers look for 2 wins in a row against the Kansas City Royals. And from Millwood to Milton, here we go. Milton Bradley, a 3-hit game yesterday. He's now leading the American League in batting average once again. The Rangers have a shot to make it 2 straight against Kansas City. They belted around the Royals yesterday, 19 hits in that ball game, and a 9-4 win. We welcome you to Kauffman Stadium here in Kansas City, along with Tom Grieve. I'm Josh Lewin. Kevin Millwood, though, I guess, is front and center. Once again, you need innings out of your starter.
Well, in his last start against the Tigers, I think Kevin had the best fastball that he's had all year. And I'm not necessarily talking about velocity, talking about the location of his fastball. He threw some curveballs, he threw some changeups, but basically for 9 innings, he featured his fastball on both sides of the plate. He threw it high when he wanted to. He threw it down when he wanted to. Got some help from his defense, and when it was all over and done with, he had a complete game victory. Big game for Kevin. Hopefully he can back it up with another one today.
He was a strike thrower in that game, no doubt, and now bouncing back from that, hoping to give the Rangers more of the same. And offensively, if we can just flash back to yesterday, that'll be fine with Kevin Millwood. He'd take that kind of run support. Nelson Cruz is back, and he is swinging. We will talk about Nelson Cruz and his contributions right after this on FSN Southwest. Texas Ranger Baseball being brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Also by Jack in the Box. We don't make it till you order it. And by Southwest Airlines. Fees don't fly with us. Visit southwest.com. The Fountains of Kansas City. And we'll see if anybody can go splashdown in those fountains tonight. Milton Bradley's a candidate. Josh Hamilton, as always, a candidate. He's a candidate to hit it up on the highway, actually, is Josh Hamilton. But Bradley had the 3 hits yesterday. Nelson Cruz had 3 hits yesterday, including an opposite field home run. And Tad, kind of shades of when he returned to the Rangers in the summer of 2007. It was right here in Kansas City, and it was with a bunch of big swings.
That was on July 28th last year. Then he came back from AAA and launched a couple of rockets out of the ballpark. That one off Octavio Dotel. And he came back from the minor leagues last night and pretty much had the same kind of night. He doubled in his first at bat. He homered down the right field line in his second at bat. He knocked in 3 runs. He would add a line drive to right field. He ended up 3 for 5 on the night with a home run. He loves coming back to the big leagues and playing in this ballpark.
And he is with a team that's already leading the major leagues in runs scored. They had 9 of them last night to beat the Royals, and the Royals are not playing well. They've dropped 15 out of 18. The Rangers try to make that 16 out of 19 when we come back to Kansas City. Rangers taking on the Royals, and the Royals will always have a place in Ron Washington's heart, that's for sure. Wash was developed as part of the famed Royals Baseball Academy, financed by the Royals owner, Ewing Kauffman, for whom this stadium is now named. Sid Thrift, great baseball man, lorded over that Royals Baseball Academy. It was designed to find unsigned, undrafted athletes, mold them into future Kansas City Royals. And Ron Washington was on that list, along with guys like Frank White.
Yeah, it was a great concept, and it was a great opportunity for players that didn't have a lot of baseball experience to go learn the game, and in some cases actually not only be signed to a minor league contract but get to the big leagues. Sid Thrift and his group there did great things, I thought.
There really was kind of a laboratory of minor league development. And speaking of minor league development, Nelson Cruz jumps out of your Southwest Airlines batting order. Joaquin Arias right off the top has been nurtured and developed in the Rangers minor leagues. Young, Hamilton, Bradley, Blaylock, Bird, Cruz, Laird, and Vasquez. That's the 1 through 9. As the Rangers go after Zach Greinke tonight. Great stuff, but a middling record of 9-9. Here's the Rico scouting report.
Well, it's a solid record for him. 9-9, 386 is the earned run average. He's 6th in the American League in strikeouts. He's pitched very well at home, not bad on the road, but especially nice at home. 4-2, 339. 6 or more innings in 19 of his 26 starts. And it's hard for a pitcher on Kansas City's ball club to have much more than a 500 record. I think Greinke's been a solid pitcher all season long. He'd be at the top of almost every rotation in the league, and he's pitched well enough to win a lot more than 9 ball games. But on Kansas City's team, he settles for 9-9.
I really thought he would be the pitcher to watch heading into 2008. Last year he went from tentative to just super aggressive, and still kept the control pretty much in order. So it seemed like he had the capacity to have that breakout year. Arias flicks it out of play. Of course, Greinke coming back from what was diagnosed as clinical depression. There was a while where it looked like maybe Zach Greinke would just not come back to baseball, period. Chop ball to short. And Aviles, high throw, and Joaquin Arias is safe.
And that when you can run and you hustle, that's what can happen on a routine ground ball to shortstop. At first base, the first baseman, Ross Glode, was up in the air for maybe a second, maybe a half a second. He just barely left the bag. And because Arias hustled to first base, he beat it out, and Aviles will end up with an error.
Joaquin has reached base now 6 of his 7 games since coming up from AAA. Michael Young, another guy with 3 hits yesterday, and that takes him to within 45 now of a 200 hit season. 30 games to go, Tech, so you can do the math. It's a hit and a half a game. We'll get it done for Michael Young.
Well, if he keeps swinging the bat like he did last night, it'll happen for him.
No right-handed hitter has ever had 6 consecutive 200 hit seasons. Michael could indeed be the first. He's got Josh Hamilton as support behind him in the lineup. And Josh is trying to chase some things down the stretch too. Looks like he will be just his 2nd ever Ranger lefty to end up with 120 runs batted in. Rafi's done it. Al Oliver once came close. Right now Hamilton at 116 still leads the major leagues. It has not exactly been a healthy season for Michael Young, so the fact that he still has a shot to get those 200 hits, a 300 batting average, all the more impressive. There is base hit number 156 for Michael Young, right under the glove of Zach Greinke. So the Rangers, another quick start here. Remember, they jumped out quickly last night. And check the Ford leaderboard. A 3-hit game for Michael Young last night. That's not exactly an unusual occurrence.
No, when you see the guys at the top of the list, those are probably guys you would expect to be there. Pedroia has been among the league leaders. Ichiro is starting to move into that category now. He's started to get hot. And Michael hitting at the top of the lineup, playing every day, gets a lot of at-bats. He's got his average up to about 291 and 292 now. You're talking about Zach Greinke and only having a 9-9 record. To give an example of how he's pitched and whether or not he's won or lost, in his last 2 starts, he's only given up 1 earned run, and he's 0-1 in about 12 innings pitched. Now, he's given up some unearned runs, but 1 earned run in his last 2 games, and he's 0-1.
That kind of stuff maybe evens out over a few years, I guess, so too. I remember a couple years ago, actually 2005, even though the Royals led the majors in errors in 2005, Greinke's first 160 innings that year, somehow he didn't give up a single unearned run, which is, I mean, that's amazing considering how many errors the Royals were making for everybody else.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, last time out pitched a lot better than what the final score would indicate. He also had the misfortune of being matched up against Cliff Lee.
Yeah, that's going to get a lot of people losses this year. But the Royals had a good note in their press package going back to August 7th last year, a little over a year, about a year and almost a month. His ERA is .339, and over that period of time, that's the 3rd best ERA in the American League. So he's done some pretty nice pitching.
You saw the manager watching on, the Arlington native Trey Hillman.
He had a tough luck loss against the Rangers earlier in the season. Back on May 1st against the Rangers in Texas, he lost 2-1. Gave up a solo home run to Ian Kinsler and another one to Ramon Vasquez, and lost the game 2-1. Pitched really well in that ball game, struck out 9 batters, but lost 2-1.
The rare 2-1 game in Arlington, Texas.
But if you watch him pitch, and all you do is catalog the stuff that he has, his fastball, last fastball was 96 miles an hour, so he's got a well above average fastball. He's got a really good curveball. He's got a really good changeup. The only thing he doesn't have is a lot of experience. Even though he's been in the big leagues for 3 years, he's still only 24 years old.
On the ground at first and Glode. Only thing he can do is get it along to Greinke, which he does. And it works kind of like a sac bunt. Runners go to second and third with just 1 out.
He was in the big leagues for the entire 2005 season when he was 21 years old. He was 5-17 that year. That led the American League in losses. His ERA was 5.80. He had 33 starts. Next year he spent it mostly at AAA. Then came back to the big leagues in 2007, and a lot of that season was spent last year as a relief pitcher. Then he started toward the end, looked great, and so now he's back in the rotation, pitching really well this year.
Well, he's facing a guy who's got a shot at a kind of an unconventional Triple Crown: batting average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage. Milton Bradley first in batting average and on base percentage, second in slugging right now. Lifting this one to left, and David DeJesus moving under it, makes the catch, but tagging from third and coming on down the line to score is Arias. Bradley adds to a career high RBI total. He's got 69 for the year now, and the Rangers strike first. If Milton does get that Triple Crown, so to speak, of the batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, we'll have to go back to former Royals great George Brett, the last American leaguer to do all that. I mean, probably his best season ever, 1980.
It's a pretty meaningful statistic to lead the league in on base percentage plus slugging percentage. You've got a terrific hitter, and as we've said all season long, one of the very best hitters in the league. If you've got a guy that has accomplished that, he would lead in OPS, on base percentage plus slugging percentage, and that's become a very meaningful statistic. Most of us who have been around the game for a long time tend to look at batting average, home runs, and runs batted in, but batting average can be misleading if you don't get on base very much other than with a hit. On base percentage is not misleading. That's a very important category. How much and how often do you get on base? Runs batted in can be a function of the guys hitting in front of you, who's on base, who's hitting behind you, whether you get good pitches to hit. But you can't, there's no way that you can look around leading the league in on base percentage, how often you get on base, and slugging percentage.
Blaylock on the ground at second base. Callaspo low throw, but Glode bails him out. The Rangers settle for one here in the top of the first inning. And Kevin Millwood on the mound in Kansas City when we come back. A 78-degree summer evening here in Kansas City. Very nice weather for Kevin Millwood to work with tonight. Not the usual humidity at 90-odd degrees that you'd find here in August. You do find this batting order for Trey Hillman's KC Royals. It's brought to you by Southwest. Mike Aviles, Alberto Callaspo, David DeJesus, and Jose Guillen. Mark Teahen, Billy Butler, Glode, Olivo, and Gathright rounded out for a team that has sunk down to 56 and 75. Here's a Rico scouting report on Kevin Millwood.
Kevin evened his record at 7-7 after that start last time. Got his ERA down to 5.24. Got some work to go to get it a little lower. 1 run in 9 innings pitched Wednesday against the Tigers. Career at Kauffman Stadium, a winning record, an ERA of 5 in 5 starts. I think the key for Kevin against this team is to do just what he did against the Tigers. Feature his fastball, and if he's got the command of it that he did in that game, he's going to have some success today. One thing we can find out by looking at the statistics and saw for ourselves last night in the ballgame is this Royals team is a free swinging team. They don't give you many quality at bats. They're up there swinging at the first pitch that's close. They put some balls into play that you can't do much with. And so if you're Kevin Millwood, you can make some pitches close to the strike zone, a little bit out of the strike zone, and probably get them to swing at some bad pitches.
Yeah, you would think a guy like Millwood, as a veteran, a guy that certainly has learned some things in his 2,100 big league innings, could exploit some weaknesses.
Yeah, I would think so too. It was very apparent last night, especially in the 3rd inning when the Royals had their big rally. The 2 outs in that rally, with men still on base and 2 runs in, were outs.
Oh, look at that play. Joaquin Arias floats it over to Blaylock at first, and that's a great way to start.
He looked like a butterfly going after that ball. That was a thing of beauty right there. Quickness, agility, great hands. Remember, when he came over as a shortstop, the thing that everybody loved about him was his ability to play defense. And I think that translates well even if you've moved over to second base, and you saw it on that play. That was a beautiful play. But last night in that rally, the 2 guys that made outs swung at pitches well out of the strike zone. Guillen on a 3-2 pitch swung at a pitch that almost hit him, fouled it off, and then made an out. I think it was Teahen later on in that inning. Swung and missed at a bad pitch, swung at a bad pitch and grounded out, made an out. If they both took those pitches, they both would have walked. So impatient at bats really hurt them in last night's ballgame.
And control, for the most part, has been something positive to point to for Millwood of late. Looking at his last 7 starts, Tag, and only one of those 7 has he walked more than 2. And that complete game against the Tigers you've been talking about, only 1 walk in those 9 innings.
Actually, Teahen swung at a bad pitch and struck out.
In a game the Rangers would go on to win 9-4 last night. Another quality start for Scott Feldman in that one. That's 12 quality starts for Feldman. That leads the team. That's incredible.
Pretty nice for a guy that I don't think was in the plans at the beginning of the year. He was going back to the minor leagues to learn how to become a starter. Instead, he's been here all year.
That was supposed to be a work in progress in AA, maybe AAA. Instead, he's at times excelled up here. That 0 under the BBs right there. No walks for the entire game for the Rangers yesterday. Soft fly ball in a left center field at 2 down. If you'll do us the kindness of staying tuned tonight, you will hear from Scott Feldman. He was our Texas Truck Stop feature.
I think you can say this about Scott. He's been solid. He's held his own. He stayed in the rotation almost all season long. There's been a couple of times where he was skipped in the rotation. But really, when it's all over and done with, when he goes out to take the mound in a game, you feel good. You feel like the Rangers have a chance to win that game. And I think when you look at a guy that's only started for 1 year, you have to think that he'll only get better as time goes on.
David DeJesus, the batter. This is supposed to be their spark plug. And he has that capability, but it just has not been going well for him of late. He grounds out here. It's a nice, quick, clean first inning for the veteran Kevin Millwood. The Rangers lead Kansas City 1-0. Second inning, a hot ticket time from now till the middle of the third inning. Tickets in the Fox Box back at the beautiful ballpark in Arlington are down to $12 a piece for the game Wednesday, September 3rd, a matinee against Seattle. It's a $1 hot dog day, too. 972 Rangers. Take advantage of hot ticket time. Give them a call right now. Hope you're making plans to come see the Rangers on this upcoming homestand. You got Seattle first, Boston after that. Well, it's been a great couple of homestands of recent vintage for this guy, Marlon Byrd. Big month of August overall for Marlon. I got him at 34 for his last 78 here, Tag. That's about a .440 batting average.
Boy, that you know what? Just watching it, I wouldn't have known that that's what he was. But just watching him, that's what it feels like. He feels like a 400 hitter the last month. He's just been on base so much. Quality at bats, hitting the ball on the good part of the bat, using the whole field, getting important hits. He's really been a huge asset to the offense the last month.
We were just talking about George Brett. He made a run at 400 in that 1980 season. And again, that 1980 George Brett season is kind of on our minds because of all people, Milton Bradley. Brett that year led the AL in batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging. Milton Bradley's got a chance here in 08. Aviles airmailed one earlier, but he's very good right there to get Marlon Byrd. That will bring up Nelson Cruz, who just blasted his way back in the Ranger lineup yesterday. A triple shy of the cycle in his Ranger return. Sneaking that one just inside the foul pole. And Ron Washington referencing Clint Eastwood movies of 1983 in our Geico quote. But that's the kind of thing that Nelson Cruz can do, right? I mean, he did it for the Rangers in this ballpark last year coming back. Absolutely.
And we saw it last night, and Nelly talked about it in the interview after the game. He feels like one of his strengths is his ability to show power not only to left field but to right field. That just makes you a better hitter. Last night he had the first hit, the double in the gap in left center field, but then his home run was down the right field line, and his line drive single was right straight at the right fielder. So 2 of his 3 hits went to right field.
Ron Washington is quickly on record saying he will be in the lineup every day. The Rangers just traded Eddie Guardado. There's no more everyday Eddie, but there's everyday Nelly going forward.
Well, the Rangers have whatever 30 games left. That could be 125, 130 at bats, and it's good for Nelly to get the opportunity. And the Rangers need to see, because maybe he can be one of those guys that's a late bloomer, that late in his 20s becomes a real solid player. And not just a utility player, but if he turns into a guy that reaches his potential, he can be an impact player, just like Ron called him.
Going to strike out here, but the one thing I know Nelson doesn't want to have is that label stuck on him about being one of those quadruple A players. You know, a guy that is too good for triple A,
right,
can't quite make it here.
Right.
Are there examples you can think of, Tag, of guys that had that label and then were able to peel him off?
Well, I think, you know, one guy, I can't quote his stats perfectly, but that we were talking about before the game is Geronimo Baroa, who finally got to the big leagues with the A's. Might have been an all-star one year, batted in the middle of their lineup for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years. he was a guy that was up and down, spent a lot of time in the minor leagues, and then enjoyed some pretty good big league success. And so, you know, I don't think it's a stretch to say Nelly Cruz could be a guy like that because he's got better tools than Burrow.
Yeah.
Burrow was essentially a DH.
Laird pops out. We'll come back and talk more about Nelly Cruz in a moment. 1-0 Rangers tonight.
En español el día de hoy en FSN. Esa es la clave para usted. Agarre su control remoto, hágale como yo. Presione el botón del menú, busca después el SAP y lo escuche en español en FSN el día de hoy con un servidor Eleno Ornella. Así que vámonos con la acción aquí en la parte baja del segundo episodio.
Thanks, Eleno. The SAP broadcast brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. The Rangers with Nelson Cruz now a fixture in the lineup. Leading the Royals 1-0. Kevin Millwood gets greeted by Jose Guillen, who slashes one down the left field line, off the wall, played beautifully by Bird to hold Guillen to a long, strong single.
Look at that play. That's from the left field corner, 330 feet away. If you don't get a double on that ball, the outfielder had to make a great play. I don't care who's running. What a play. He played the carom perfectly. Guillen, again, that's not a pitch that Kevin was trying to throw. He wanted to keep that ball away from Guillen's power. He throws that ball right on the bag. What a play.
Now brings up Mark Teahen, who's drifted back to third base for Kansas City with the injury to Alex Gordon.
Now, Marlin made that play so well. The speed of the runner really didn't come into play.
Right.
Now, a guy like Ichiro, or maybe the fastest runners might have snuck into second. I don't know. But pretty much any runner, if they went to second on that ball, would have been out.
And everybody would have been surprised that it was even an issue.
They would have been shocked.
Didn't feel the double play depth as Teahen takes a strike. The third baseman of the future is still Alex Gordon, but he's on the shelf, one of many injured Royals right now. So Teahen, who a couple of years ago was farmed out to the outfield, now comes back to play third. Driving this one up in the air to right. Nelson Cruz is there. Guillen thought about tagging, but
well, Nelly Cruz is the latest outfielder to join the Rangers, and he has a strong arm too. Nelly was trying to bait Guillen into going to second right there. Actually waited, and he was ready to throw him out if he had to. But when you talk about the Rangers' arm strength, ability to throw, Nelly's right there with him as far as arm strength goes.
And again, with Nelson Cruz, we're circling back to talking about late bloomers, I guess is what it comes down to, Tag. That's a hope for the Rangers. I mean, Nelly is now 28 years old. And there are guys, I mean, even here in Kansas City, Hal McRae didn't really get going until he was 26, 27. We always invoke the name of Mickey Tettleton, Steve Finley, guys that got it right in their late 20s. But in terms of power hitters, outfield types, I think your Geronimo Berroa comparison is great. Berroa took 13 years in professional baseball before he really had that all-star caliber season.
I just keep going back with Nelly to the fact that he's had 3 really good years of AAA baseball, and the numbers that he put up 3 straight times, especially this year, translates to big league success, no matter how you want to look at it. Maybe not quite at the same 1-for-1 ratio, but at a ratio that still says big league success. And then you add to that the fact that he's not a one-dimensional player. He can run. He uses the whole field. He's got a strong arm. He's not limited to being a DH. And there's just no reason that a scout, and I know the scouts look at him and say the same thing, that you can look at him and say he's got a chance to be a real good player, not just a 4th outfielder, not just a sub, but he's still, what you've said several times this year is true, potential. You've got to go out there and do it. So it's in his pocket now.
Speaking of doing it, there's the Rangers defense doing it that inning, huh? Marlon Byrd keeps Guillen at first, so the double plays in order, and it goes 5-4-3 to get Millwood off the mound.
It's game time. Skybox is right up here in section La-di-da. How's everybody doing? Can anybody tell me what inning we're in? All right, boys, we take it back to high life. See, the high life is about sitting in the sun and watching your favorite pitcher get lit up. Take him out. And they can't even hear me through this glass. Come on, boys. Need to smell me a hot dog or something. Just know I'm alive. Woo! Let me pass out some high life.
Texas Ranger Baseball being brought to you by your Texas Dodge dealers, also by Geico Insurance and by Pennzoil. Beautiful night for baseball here in Kansas City. Thank you for joining us. Along with Tom Grieve, this is Josh Lewin. And there is Ramon Vasquez trying to increase the Ranger lead here. It's 1-0 in the third. That big high-def scoreboard out there in center field, nice and bright as we get towards dusk here in Kansas City. You can see Ramon Vasquez's mustache from the highway. It's pretty amazing.
It really is an incredible feature. You might say that you come to a ballpark, big deal, they've got a nice board in center field, but when you see this thing at first, right up close and personal, that scoreboard is remarkable.
Vasquez bunting. Olivo throws to first to get him. They've got quite a work in progress motif here at this ballpark. It's a $250 million upgrade that they're doing. They're knee deep in the middle of tearing out seats and bulldozing this and retrofitting that. But when it's done, I mean, they've already got the high def scoreboard, and that's great, but when they reassemble the crown,
there's the crown that's going on top.
Heavy lies the head that wears that thing. Right now it's just blasted out in the parking lot. But
well, they had a beautiful park to begin with, and so if you make it more beautiful, it'll really be something.
More concessions, that's key. They're going to feature a taste of Kansas City.
All right.
So they say. So I'd have to think some brisket is involved. A pitch high to Arias. The Rangers stay at a wonderful hotel on what is called the Plaza here in Kansas City. Very upscale part of town. Line shot. Fair ball. Joaquin Arias guns the engine heading towards second base, and he is going to have himself a stand-up double. He just keeps reaching base since he's come up.
Well, he's taken advantage of his opportunity. Sooner or later, Ian's going to be back, and Joaquin wants to make as big an impression as he can in the time that he has, and he's doing that right now. He's playing defense, and he's swinging the bat. And the thing you hope for Arias is that his arm continues to strengthen, continues to get a little better. Right now, he's probably limited to second base, and you can tell his arm's not 100% when you watch him throw. But if that comes back over the winter to where now he can play shortstop again, then that'll really be to his advantage.
Michael Young had a single up the middle, as the Rangers did score the only run of the game in that first inning. Anyway, talking about the Plaza area where the Rangers stay, Tag, what do you figure, 30-40 restaurants where you just can't go wrong?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I don't know how many, but it's one of those places like Boston, Chicago, New York, where you can just walk around and see one you've never been to before, stop in, and probably be pretty happy with it.
If you like the outdoor shopping experience, this is a perfect road trip. Kansas City and Anaheim.
Yep.
And the Rangers stay very close to a place called the Block of Orange County, where you can walk through, what do you figure, 150 stores probably.
Probably. You won't find a lot of discount stores in Kansas City, no, in the area you're talking about, but if high-end shopping suits your fantasy, that's a great place to go. Now in Anaheim, at the Block, you can find all sorts of places to shop for all types of prices.
Right. If you want a cool poster from Spencer's, you go to Anaheim. If you want a $900 pair of shoes, come on and see the Rangers in Kansas City.
Armani suit, you got the right spot.
The 1-2 from Greinke. Young, a rip and a miss. Out number 2, leaves the inning to Josh Hamilton. Folks, college football Saturday, presented by Acura, returning to FSN Southwest. Doubleheader action. Oklahoma State and Washington State will get it going. Washington and Oregon after that. Our coverage begins with the college football kickoff show Saturday at 2 in glorious high-definition television. Only on FSN Southwest. Josh Hamilton, fresh off the All-Star game of about 5-6 weeks ago, still has that league best RBI total. You know what's going to be weird to look at years from now, Tag, is that in that first All-Star game for Josh Hamilton, he did not have a home run. He had a stolen base. Yeah, people are going to always remember the power show.
He had his home runs in the practice.
But I mean, once lines get blurry and things get fuzzy because, you know, years pass and everything, I mean, if you'll vaguely recall, oh yeah, Hamilton's first All-Star game was all about the power. And then you'll go and look it up. It'll show no home runs, a couple of ground ball outs, and a stolen base. But you'll have to rent that DVD of the Home Run Derby. That was something. Now, speaking of home runs, that's the one thing that starting on Thursday is going to be a little bit different all around Major League Baseball. They are now reviewable. Instant replay is going to start up for home runs only on Thursday. There's been so much talk about it, so much posturing, so much conjecture, but now, well, when the Rangers get to Anaheim Thursday, Tag, there will be video technology in place.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it works. And it probably won't be used very often, I wouldn't think. There's not that many controversial calls. When it's a home run, though, everybody notices it. But that doesn't happen very often. For the times that it does, if the replay gets it right, then it'll be fine.
Ball gets away. Rangers get a break. Miguel Olivo does not have a shot at first or at third, and the inning continues for Milton Bradley. On a strikeout wild pitch.
Well, Greinke's stuff is so good, he can make you swing at a wild pitch. That looked like a changeup that really fooled Josh. And he's got a cutter that's a nasty pitch, whether you want to call it a cutter or a slider. He's got a good curveball and a real good changeup. He's got all the pitches. The thing you have to remember about him is he's only 24 years old, too.
Bradley had the sac fly in the first. He will take a strike right here. Another one that almost got away on a strike. That's the league's leading hitter up there, though. Bradley has a 6-point lead all of a sudden on, of all people, Ian Kinsler. Just by being inactive for a week, Ian has gone from 6th to 2nd in the league in hitting. Mauer, Youkilis, Pedroia, Polanco have all dropped.
The race is so close, it doesn't take much. A 4-for-5 day and you go to the top, and an 0-for-5 day and you drop down 3 or 4 spots. Ian's got a shot at 319, Bradley at 325.
Wasn't too long ago, well, about 30 years ago now, that the Royals had teammates going down right to the very last day. Kind of a controversial ending to a great batting race in 1976, I believe it was.
Was that the one that Brett hit the fly ball that Steve Braun landed in front of him? Or landed in front of him. I don't know if he let it or not. Some people thought he did, I guess.
It was George Brett and Hal McRae, two teammates. And yeah, Brett slashed at bat a fly ball in front of the twin Steve Braun.
I never saw that, so I can't really even comment on it. There were some people that thought he could have caught the ball. Only Steve knows, and I played winter ball with Steve, and I can't imagine that he would ever let a ball drop on purpose. He was a hard-nosed, aggressive player. I just couldn't see him doing that. You know, maybe he misjudged it, maybe he lost it.
Up and outside to Bradley, 3-2. Ty Cobb was so despised. 1910 St. Louis Browns, they did conspire to make him try and lose the batting title. Nap Lajoie was neck and neck with Cobb, and the Browns manager told his third baseman to play back all day, let Lajoie bunt his way forward all
That's
afternoon.
a hated person if you'd instruct your team to do that.
Foul tip by Bradley, and the legend has it, I mean, there's no videotape evidence of this, but Lajoie did go 8 for 8. Making a run. He still lost out by a single point, though. 385 batting average for Cobb, 384 for Lajoie, but supposedly at least 7 of those 8 hits he just bunted up near third base because the third baseman said, here you go.
Can you imagine if anyone tried to do that in today's game?
There would be a bit of an uproar.
They'd see through that the first time that it happened.
Well, and there's nobody
talk shows and replays and sports shows everywhere.
There was nobody blogging about that in 1910, you know. On 3-2. Again, Hamilton will get moving, and Bradley takes ball 4. Flips that bat aside, and Blaylock's got a shot here. It's another one of those career high numbers that we're talking about for Milton Bradley, the walks. And another one of the walks tag where it was 0-2 before he walked.
Yep. No, we've said it. He leads the league in on base percentage. He's got a solid batting average, but the walks are what gets him to the on base percentage lead. He just gives you quality at bats, one right after the other, all day long. You know, the Ranger players and Ron Washington talk about his intensity, and that's where you really see it, in the concentration and in the intense way that he goes about every pitch in every at bat. Doesn't give up an at bat, doesn't take lazy swings. He's bearing down on every at bat, every pitch. It's hard to do.
Since Milton's been DHing so much too, I think that even goes forward off of that baseline. You know, I mean, there's a chance that Milton's got only 4 opportunities to do anything of value every game, you know, so he's not going to waste that chance.
I'm sure that's true.
Outside to Blaylock, 2-0.
Well, Greinke's not a guy that struggles with control. He's got good control. But there's not a lot of teams like the Rangers who make a pitcher work. Just won't give in and swing at a bad pitch very often. Obviously they do sometimes.
It's a 25 pitch inning. Greinke, I think, reminds you a little bit of Scott Kazmir in that regard, that if he can harness the pitch count, things would maybe go a little bit better. He'd have a few more wins. Got the stuff, got the ERA, just doesn't have the win total necessarily.
I think when you look at Greinke and you look at Kazmir, they're 2 kids with really good stuff. And they probably get their pitch counts up there because the other team doesn't put a lot of balls in play. They swing and miss a lot. They foul a lot of pitches off.
Blaylock flies to left. The Rangers leave him loaded. We'll play the bottom of the 3rd at Kauffman Stadium. 1-0 Texas.
Get to know the Rangers inside and out, as FSN Southwest gets you up close and personal with your favorite players. This is the show built just for Rangers fans. Rangers Insider, Friday on FSN Southwest.
Rangers taking on the Mariners and the Red Sox on the next homestand. And don't forget, Wednesday afternoon is $1 hot dog day next week. Get your tickets by calling 972-RANGERS or going online, TexasRangers.com. Millwood to Glode, and the bottom of the third has begun. The Rangers lead on a sac fly from Milton Bradley back in the first. Again, the Royals in definite struggle mode right now. They've lost 15 out of 18. They had won 7 of 8 right before that. Trey Hillman's team has hit the earth with a moist thud ever since going 7-1. Then you root for Trey Hillman, huh? As a guy that went undrafted as a player despite being all conference in college at UT Arlington. Played a few years of minor league ball for the Indians, became a coach and a manager. 12 years in the minors managing, then off to Japan. Interviewed for the Rangers gig in November of '06, lost out to Ron Washington. Now he's in charge of the Kansas City Royals. Oh, after coming back from Japan. Can't leave that one off the resume.
Well, he joined Bobby Valentine as 2 U.S. managers who went to Japan and won championships.
Trey Hillman for the Nippon Ham Fighters. I think you and I have talked about this, but I know I used to think it was the Nippon
Ham Fighters.
Ham Fighters.
Yeah, what is a ham fighter?
It's someone who fights ham. But actually, it's the Nippon Ham Corporation.
Right.
And the nickname of the team is the Fighters.
They are the Fighters.
Yeah. He goes from ham in Nippon, Japan to beef here in Kansas City, Missouri, does Trey Hillman. Tony Bennett went from rags to riches. Trey Hillman goes from ham to brisket. And trying to have himself a good time in Kansas City, it's tough when you've lost 15 out of 18. There's a good curve for Millwood.
On Kevin's last start against the Tigers, he threw some curveballs, some cutters, a couple of change-ups, a few change-ups, but boy, he really featured his fastball. He's thrown a lot of fastballs today. And maybe that's the reason that Glode took a look at the curveball, because he'd seen so many fastballs. I think that's when Kevin's at his best, when he's featuring his fastball, both sides of the plate, good movement, and then utilizing his curveball and his cutter when he needs to, or when he wants to, really. When Kevin struggles, like a lot of pitchers, he's unable to locate his fastball.
Olivo, another Royal that kind of extends that strike zone. Olivo, I think, is one of many Kansas City players that you figure hits between 10 and maybe 18 home runs for you. They don't have a lot of guys that you bank on for 30 to 40. There's been a power outage in Kansas City for a long time. This franchise has never had a 40 home run hitter.
Well, they had John Mayberry, and I'm not sure what Big John averaged a year, but you know, he hit between 28 and 35 home runs, I guess. There's a good curveball.
Wow, Olivo not even close.
But that was at a time when guys weren't hitting 45 or 50 home runs. Reggie Jackson and certain other hitters would win the home run championship with somewhere between 34 and 40 home runs. So I think if you tried to translate what John Mayberry did back then to today, then maybe he might have had a 40 home run season. But as far as an actual 40 home run season, no, he never did. Felt like he was a 40 home run guy.
Yeah. Steve Balboni had 36. That was pretty close.
Yep.
Danny Tartable was mid-30s, I think, once or twice.
Steve Balboni is a good example of a late bloomer. You know, we were talking about them later. Steve spent a lot of time in the minor leagues and then got to the big leagues. I'd have to guess at least in his late 20s with Kansas City and put up some really good numbers. Ended up playing with the Rangers. What a nice guy.
To short, and one hop by Michael Young. It's looking good for Kevin Millwood tonight. Rangers 1, Royals nothing at the end of 3.
There's no crying in baseball because there's no junior high in baseball. There are no popularity contests, no bathroom bullies, no wedgies in baseball. There's no summer school, no spelling bees, and there are no short gym shorts in baseball. And that's why you could use some more of it.
Rangers on top 1-0 as we go to the 4th. Here is the Aflac trivia question. Who's got the Royals record for the highest batting average in a season by a rookie? Can't be the .422 that Joaquin Arias is hitting right now, but we'll get you that answer coming up. Bottom of the 4th. Right now we're in the top of the 4th. And a hot hitter for the Rangers, Marlon Byrd. Try and check some scores for you this inning. Some of those races starting to get hot and heavy with a month to go now. That one softly on the inside corner. Pretty much a 3-team wild card race in the AL and the NL right now. Some of the also-rans are starting to get kind of chopped away at this point. There's a foul by Marlon Byrd. We're going to check out our Coors Light Freeze Cam. The Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Marlon Byrd playing this ball in the corner.
Doesn't get much better than that for a defensive play.
It held Guillen to 1. And now back live, Marlon Byrd smokes one into left field. He's got himself a base hit.
Well, Marlon's had a couple of good at-bats against Greinke. Hit the ball hard to shortstop his last time up.
A .440 hitter ever since the 4th of this month is Marlon Byrd. That's what you missed. Nelson Cruz to the plate. Nelly is, you probably know by now, is just having that unconscious season at Oklahoma. 37 home runs, 99 runs batted in. And he got off to a quick start as a Ranger with a 3-hit game yesterday. Nelly came over from the Milwaukee Brewers in that Carlos Lee deal that the Rangers made a couple of summers ago. The Brewers, one of those teams in the playoff hunt. They are currently leading St. Louis tonight 2-0 in the 3rd. Brewers have a shot to catch the Cubs, but probably a better shot to make it as a wild card. They're 3.5 up on St. Louis in the wild card as that ball is popped in a shallow right. Callaspo near the line, crossing the line to make the catch. St. Louis trying to catch Milwaukee and the Cubs. The Phillies are trying to catch St. Louis and Milwaukee for the wild card. And the Phillies are trying to catch the Mets in the NL East. I'll tell you, the Mets, they've got these rookies that we didn't really even see when the Rangers played at Shea Stadium. Dan Murphy, no relation to David Murphy. Nick Evans.
Not household names,
no.
for sure.
Well, and how about a former Ranger Fernando Tatis in the year that he's having?
Yeah, he's been key for them.
Ryan Ludwig could be the National League MVP. Nobody saw that coming. I don't think a lot of people saw Carlos Quentin at the dawn of the season as an American League MVP candidate.
No one in Arizona did anyway.
Not trading him for A-Ball or Chris Carter. Among the many surprises, this really is a season where you look around and go, wow, who would have thought Tampa Bay would be cruising into the playoffs here? For example, Laird sends one into center, and with a roll and a dive, Gathright couldn't hold it. The Rangers have 2 on, 1 out.
Nice try by Gathright. That ball was really hit hard.
Remember, Gathwright's coming back from a bruised right shoulder, too. Have to check and see how much of the shoulder was involved right there on the replay.
See if he gets his glove on it. No, not quite. I think his body actually knocked the ball down. His shoulder was definitely involved in it as he rolled.
A chance for Ramon Vasquez. Formerly of the Cleveland Indians, among others. Here's another surprise. We talked about Cliff Lee earlier, but you're probably going to have the Cy Young coming from the Cleveland Indians this year. And if you had said in spring training that would happen, you go, oh, it's CC Sabathia, or oh, it's Fausto Carmona.
Cleveland's won 8 straight. A little bit too late, though.
Is it possible that CC Sabathia could win the Cy Young in the National League?
No.
Even if he goes like 13-0.
Brandon Webb's 19-4. And his ERA is like the 3rd best ERA.
So no Rick Sutcliffe thing?
I don't see it. I don't see it. I think he could in the absence of other contenders.
But because of Webb?
I think the way Webb, and Webb's not the only one, but I'll pick Webb just because his season is so good. I don't think he'll have enough innings to unseat Webb, who really is not going to take a back seat to what Sabathia has done anyway.
Webb right now, Webb could win 24 games. He's got 19 right now.
Yeah.
So
and he's pitching on a good team.
Right.
Webb's pitching on a team that's 5 games over 500. So imagine what they'd be without him.
Now Rick Sutcliffe coming to the Cubs from the Indians. So there's a little bit of a mirror effect there, because this year Sabathia went from the Indians to the Cubs' rival, the Brewers, but that was 1984. He went 16-1 for the Cubs. But that was a trade that was more like mid-June, if memory serves. It wasn't a trade deadline deal.
Yeah, I just don't see how he's going to be able to do it. Then there was the year that Bartolo Colon had a while back where he won 10 or 11 games in each league.
That's right. He was a 20-game winner.
Could have been baseball Cy Young, but not the Cy Young for either league.
Well, the other National League games of note real quick. The Mets are leading Philly tonight 7-5. That is in the 5th inning. The aforementioned Fernando Tatis, another home run for the Mets. Ryan Howard, number 35 for the Phillies. On the corner. And it's strike 3 called to Vasquez.
Well, I don't know if it's a strike or not. Generally, no. When you see the catcher catch the ball, and then move his glove quickly back toward the strike zone, generally that's not a strike. Because what the catcher is saying is, it's out of the strike zone. I'm trying to make it look like a strike. And that's what Olivo did on that pitch. Watch the catcher's glove right here. You can't quite see it.
Want to know the count to Joaquin Arias. Big rip and a foul ball right back.
Here's another look at it. Watch Oliva's glove when he catches the ball and what he does after he catches the ball. Catches it and then moves it quickly to the right.
That little sleight of hand.
That's telling you that's not a strike. Dead giveaway. And then the tracker backed it up.
All right, well, and this is not to get on the umpires, but Gary Darling's the crew chief. He's been at this for 20 years in the big leagues. I mean, he's got to know that too, right? Or
yeah, and you know, I'm not sure he's concentrating on the ball. Whether we're looking at it in slow motion replay several different times. I don't know how well he could see that behind the plate as it happens in real action. Not too sure. You know, and sometimes the umpire timing is that he makes his call before he'd even see that. If you look for ways that Arias can improve, one way would be plate discipline. He makes good contact, but there aren't many pitches he doesn't like to swing at. If it's close, he's swinging at it. And as long as you're a 300 hitter, that's okay. But on base percentage does come into play if you don't walk at all.
waves the one down the way here. Greinke able to get out of the inning. The Rangers have stranded a half a dozen so far, but they lead 1-0.
Rangers, Royals, tomorrow on FSN Southwest.
Aflac! Back to the Aflac trivia question. The Royals' record for highest batting average in a season by a rookie. Aflac! I'm going to take you back to the sweet swinging Kevin Seitzer, who had a 200-hit season, matter of fact. First American League rookie since Tony Oliva to do something like that. He was a third baseman then in 1987.
Kevin was a good hitter. He was a pesky hitter. Boy, he hit the ball all over the field. Had line drive power.
Here's a rookie making things happen. Mike Avila's bare hand pickup. Michael Young, he got him.
Nice play.
That's a play I know Michael loves to make, and you don't get to make it that often, but you charge it, you barehand it, you got to throw on the run.
Yep, that shows your athletic skill when you can make a play like that. But to be a big league shortstop, you have to be able to make that play. That's one of the plays you have to be able to make. Charge the ball on the run, throw accurately on the run.
You're talking about Seitzer tag. It was right around this time of year in 1994, right before the strike in 1994, when he got hit in the face by that fastball by Melito Perez. And that wasn't even the most unfortunate thing, I don't think, because when he came back, he got hit in the face 2 other times.
Well, I don't even remember that.
Not nearly as seriously, but I mean the kind of thing where, you know, the guy's trying to fight past the nightmare of having his face, you know, just kind of, I mean, there were multiple fractures, and you know, to get back into baseball at all. We've seen guys from Dickie Thon on down, you know, have a tough time coming back from something like that. Jack Morris got him once. I
didn't realize he was hit 3 times like that.
Grounded to second, and Hyospo is out. Some good work here from Kevin Millwood. 7 in a row set down.
Oh, he's picking up right where he left off against the Tigers. A complete game victory.
Real quick, couple other National League scores. The Cubs and the Pirates are tied 6-6. Dodgers are having a real tough time scoring. They're trailing in Washington 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th tonight.
Guess Manny's not being Manny right now.
Manning's on a team that had 13 hits yesterday. They got no runs. There's a base hit for David DeJesus. Second Royals hit tonight. That'll bring up Jose Guillen. That's tough to do. No runs on 13 hits.
I remember one time Jackie Brown, my roommate, shut out the Oakland A's on 12 hits. Pitched out of some jams.
Double plays?
I'm not sure. I don't remember, but I'm sure there were some double plays. I'm sure he got some outs with a couple of men on.
In the American League, Toronto leading Tampa Bay 3-2. But Tampa Bay is at home, so They might come back and win that thing. They're in the bottom of the 7th right now. Kind of weird and almost enjoyable not to lead with Boston against the Yankees in the American League, but that really is not the big game. Guillen to left to the track for Marlon Byrd, and he's got it. Back with some more scores and some more kind of off the field news for you in just 2 minutes. It is 1-0 Rangers.
Amanda.
Gary.
Wow. You look amazing.
Same old Gary.
No, listen. I'm sorry about the way things ended. I was immature, but I've been doing some soul searching. I've matured.
Bye, Gary.
You can't always be smooth, but your beer should be. Brewed for a smooth taste that's never bitter. Keystone Light is always smooth. Even when you're not.
There's a land where the soft drinks flow like water, and everyone gets all the popcorn and peanuts and delicious nachos they want. And some of the best ball players in the world entertain you while you eat ballpark hot dogs. At every Thursday through Sunday home game, this magical place becomes a reality. The all-you-can-eat seats at Rangers Ballpark. Order your enchanted evening for as low as $34 at TexasRangers.com. All-you-can-eat seats package includes out-of-this-world plays and gigantic home runs.
Back here in Kansas City, some excitement just a moment ago. Jose Guillen appeared to get into it with some fans down that right field line, and a lot of the other Royals players kind of surrounded Jose Guillen. And frankly, Tag, I didn't see how it started. I just saw how it finished.
Didn't see it either. Saw the players pushing him away.
Well, Guillen's the one guy who's actually hitting the ball real well for Kansas City, but well, you can understand how this team collectively would be frustrated just about a lot of stuff right now. They've lost 15 out of 18. It's like, come on down here and say that from the body language.
When you're a professional, you have to be able to go out to your position and not listen to what the fans say. Now, I don't know if they threw anything at him, and you never know what they said. But I think the best thing you can do is just keep your back to the fans and go out to your position, because I don't think you can ever accomplish anything by that. That's my opinion.
Well, and you always steer into that discussion of the fine line between, you know, your ticket, I guess, entitles you to heckle or say what's on your mind, but you do have a certain civil responsibility, I think, to just keep it clean. And Greinke will throw out Michael Young.
Players have different boiling points, and sometimes you can say the magic words that just makes a player very upset. But at the same time, when you point to a fan and say, come on down here and say that, do you think the fan's going to jump over the fence and come down on the field and say it again? I mean, it's just, you can't win that kind of an argument.
No, although, and again, from a fan standpoint, I think, if it's something that a stranger sitting behind you probably would not like to hear, probably shouldn't say it, because you're around mixed company and kids and all that. But
Greinke got hit by that ball. They're out there to check on him. Michael Young ripped that ball back through the middle. Looked like it was headed for a base hit, but it hit off Greinke. And got the manager and the trainer out there checking on him.
That's one down in the 5th. Michael bidding for his second hit of the night, and we've been talking about how he needs a hit and a half on average the rest of the way to get to 200 for the year.
That's too bad, because that was one that didn't happen that could easily have been a hit. And with a lot of pitchers, maybe most pitchers, it is a hit.
Tag, real quick, a couple of scores we didn't get to. We mentioned the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing tonight. Former Kansas City Royal Johnny Damon, a pair of home runs for the Yankees, but Boston's got a 7-3 lead in that game. Let me throw this one out for you. The Yankees will be closing down Yankee Stadium the second to last weekend of the season. Is it possible that the Yankees will not be playing for anything of value with 6 games to go at that point.
Yeah, it's possible. For sure.
It'd be a really strange way to bring Yankee Stadium to a close with a totally meaningless game against Baltimore. Of course, Josh Hamilton got to tour Yankee Stadium during the All-Star game. In fact, he got to show all of America the bleachers. We all went along for that ride watching the home run derby.
Yeah, he hit balls to parts of that park that have never seen balls hit before, I would guess. Haven't seen all the games at Yankee Stadium.
Maybe in batting practice, but certainly not in something like a home run derby or a game. To check the Jack in the Box wild card standings, the Yankees currently 5 behind Boston. Minnesota now with Eddie Guardado in the fold. A game and a half behind the Red Sox, but again, Minnesota off on that very extensive road trip. Their longest road trip in 39 years. It's a 14-game, 15-day trip. They're actually playing 25 out of 30 on the road at this point. Upstairs to Hamilton. The road for Minnesota has them in Seattle tonight. The Angels hosting Oakland. Another comebacker. Greinke's got it. Another one you score 1-3. Zach Greinke makes the play, and we'll take some time out. Brought to you by Corona and Corona Light, talking about the native Floridian, Zach Greinke. The Royals had a stretch fairly recently where they went 5 years without having anybody with 1 10 strikeout game. Not a lot of power pitchers. And a power hitter at the plate, Milton Bradley. Sac fly and a walk in this game, and that sac fly is still the only run scored.
The Rangers have made Greinke work. This will be his 89th pitch in the 5th inning. He's still throwing 94 miles an hour too.
That has been a wide outside corner at times tonight.
And the only run that he's given up scored because there was an error leading off the game. One run, one unearned run.
Bouncing ball, second base. Kayaspo throws to first. 1-0 Rangers. Bottom of the 5th coming up. Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, also by Aflac Insurance and by Miller High Life. Rangers continue to lead here in Kansas City. It is 1-0, bottom of the 5th. Mark Teahen will knock one out of play. Kevin Millwood needed only 39 pitches to get through 4 innings. And, you know, we talked about Millwood having thrown 113 pitches last time out. The complete game effort, there was some conjecture about, okay, well, did that wipe him out? How does he bounce back from that? Well, he's cruising right now.
Yeah, there's no reason why that should take too much out of Kevin. It was a 73-degree night. He spread the pitches pretty evenly through 9 innings. And as a veteran guy, you'd have to think that he can bounce back pretty nicely from that. Had an extra day rest to go along with it for tonight's start. And by the way he's pitched so far, he's feeling no after effects from that game. At least that would be apparent to us watching from this vantage point.
What a great vantage point it is, too.
Great booth. Great place to watch a game.
Right up over Mark Teahan's shoulders here is where we're perched. Mark Teahan, a guy with 10 home runs this year, but 2 of them have been inside the Parkers. First Royal to have 2 inside the Parkers in 1 year since Brian McRae back in the early 90s. Long run here for Hamilton. He's got it.
Good pitch by Kevin. Got that ball inside. Teahan swung at a pitch a little bit inside and out of the strike zone. Jammed him. A little weak pop-up.
I know I've asked you this before, but I can't remember. Did you have any inside the Parkers?
No. This was the closest I ever came to one in Kansas City. I hit a hard ground ball, line drive ground ball down the third baseline. It hit in the corner, rolled past the left fielder towards center field, and I came all the way around the bases. And the amazing part of it was ruled a triple. Well, if the guy fielded the ball, it would have been a double. The fact that it was triple would lead you to believe that the outfielder wasn't held accountable for missing it, and therefore, in my humble opinion back then, it should have been a home run. But no, that's the closest I ever came. I think I actually hit one. It just wasn't counted as one.
But you touched home plate and everything.
It was called a triple and an error, but if the guy didn't miss it, I never could have gotten a triple.
When did you find out that was a scoring decision? I mean, did you hit home plate?
I don't remember. I don't know. No, because it went on the board as a hit. And I guess when I saw an error, I knew it wasn't an inside the park home run. But I would have thought it was a double and an error, not a triple and an error. That was the closest.
Butler fouls one away. Well, as we always seem to talk about when we come to Kansas City, when they had the artificial surface here back in the 80s, and a team that had guys like Willie Wilson on it, that fast turf, fast players, the Royals for a couple of years had a stretch where they averaged an inside the park home run every 4 weeks.
I believe it.
I mean, it was insane.
And I think a lot of them probably were balls hit down the line where the left or right fielder went into the corner to try to catch them. They hit the wall, and the ball tended to hug the wall and just keep on rolling towards center field.
Yeah, it would just kind of be escorted along that
right along the
track.
wall. So, for instance, the ball that Marlin made the play on against Guillen, he went right into the corner. It came right straight back to him. But that kind of a ball is the kind of ball that ended up, I'm sure, many times being an inside the park home run.
That ball laced in the left, and a base hit for Billy Butler. Folks, you could catch a Josh Hamilton homer when you purchase half-price tickets in the upper home run porch for Ranger games in September. Tickets are only $7.50 each, excluding that Red Sox series, when you log on to TexasRangers.com and enter PORCH as a coupon code. That's sponsored by 1021 The Edge. Swinging at the first pitch, Ross Glode will pop it into center. And again, the Millwood pitch count is very low tonight. You talked about it right off the top, Tag. This is a free swinging group, these Kansas City Royals.
It's tough to walk these guys.
Well, 3 Ranger pitchers yesterday, no walks. 1 pitcher tonight, that's Kevin Millwood, no walks. Olivo first pitch swinging, blasting away left center field. And now that's a first pitch swing that actually cashes in. They're trying to score Billy Butler. Michael Young whips the throw home too late, and we're tied 1-1.
Well, the guys the Royals have in the lineup right now, Olivo's been one of the more productive guys. Done a pretty good job in the catching spot, sharing duty with John Buck.
Runner breaking second to third. Laird with a throw. It's going to be too late. Great jump. And the scouting report is you can run on Kevin Millwood. Olivo's a catcher who has some speed, kind of like Gerald Laird. And Laird's the guy that was called on to get him. He couldn't do it.
Yeah, generally, you wouldn't be too excited about your catcher trying to steal third base with 2 outs. He had a huge jump. It's probably a little bit more significant with Gathright at the plate, because Gathright, with his speed, is inclined to get infield hits, and you can score from third on an infield hit. With a different hitter, it might not come into play quite so much, but actually with Gathright, it could really come into play.
Gathright not a power threat at all. And now with 2 strikes on him, not a threat to be dropping one down. So advantage Millwood here with a runner at third. Boy, he tries to come in and he hits him. And you can understand Kevin rolling his eyes too. He's got a 240 hitter, the number 9 guy, right where he wants him. 0-2. And he hit him.
He's trying to come in. You can see Gerald set up on the inside corner. That ball just never came back. He likes to make that ball go from left to right. That one actually cut a little bit and came in on him and just nicked him.
So now it is first and third. Another first pitch swing. And the Royals will strand a couple. They have tied the score, though. It's 1-1 at the end of 5. Time right now for the Sonic Slam inning. Brought to you by Sonic. The jackpot worth $600 plus tickets to a Ranger game and dinner for 2 at Sonic. Good luck to Gary Williams of Kennedale. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, we're giving away $25,000. Breezy and even a little bit cool here in Kansas City right now. Rangers and Royals go to the 6th. And now tied 1-1. Greinke's needed 91 pitches tagged to get through his 5 innings. Millwood only 55.
Very efficient for Kevin. Hasn't walked the batter. A lot of first pitch swinging by the Royals.
They need to be sent away to camp. Take a pitch. Just one time. Hank Blaylock, foul ground. And Tian leaning, couldn't get it. And a lot of people who are vice presidents of some company will be talking about that for a long time.
There's a couple of them are pretty lucky that that hit the roof, because if it came back into that place, some of them would have gotten hit by it.
That'll be the big water cooler topic tomorrow at the office. 2-1 pitch to Blaylock. He's going to drive that one right center field, up there to the track and at the wall for Gathright, who takes it away.
Well, what a play by Gathright. He timed this perfectly. That's a long way out there too, 400 feet. Gathright goes all the way back, times his jump into the wall, and makes a beautiful play. Takes an extra base hit away from Hank.
Looked like it would have been a double high up on the wall.
Well, that woke the fans up.
Boy, no
sure.
kidding.
As long as I've ever heard the fans cheer for a play. And it was worthy of that. Very nice play.
Well, they've been aching for something to cheer about, as poorly as it's gone the last 3 weeks.
That's a home run in a lot of ballparks.
Yep.
Certainly a home run in our ballpark. And one of the reasons I'm sure that the Royals have the fewest amount of home runs in the league is because it's tough to hit them out there between left center and right center. They brought the fences in here for a while, but now they're back to their original dimensions.
Well, Gathright, if you know his story at all, he is definitely a leaper. That's how they found him in the first place.
Jumping over cars. Look at that ball.
Wow, it pinballs
right
off
shortstop.
Greinke to Aviles to pick it first, and Marlon Byrd is robbed.
The second ball that was headed up the middle. Michael Young hit one too.
Well, a lot of balls right back to Greinke, who's waving off the trainer. He says he's okay. Off a hot shot. Yeah, back to Joey Gathright. He was discovered by a scout by the name of Benny Latino in Louisiana. Latino was walking through a parking lot, came upon a group of teenagers. They were betting on whether or not Joey Gathright could jump over a car. And Joey Gathright apparently won some money that night. He did jump over the car. And as a bonus, got a baseball contract a couple weeks later. Driver's side.
They could make this like Naked Gun and put like a used car out in center field where Joey could race after a ball, jump over the car, dive for the ball, and catch it.
Then you could have a lion try to break up the double play with Aviles and Callaspo. Ground ball. That's kind of a normal play here.
That might get Greinke another inning, a 9-pitch inning.
Well, he can definitely thank Gathright out there in center for helping to shorten the time frame of that inning. Tied at 1. Bottom of the 6th coming up.
I love all the flavor in the Supersonic Breakfast Toaster.
Yeah,
man.
you know, it's almost like breakfast to the second power because it's got double meats on there, you know, double cheeses.
Yeah, I was never, like, good with food math.
How many sandwiches are you holding?
Please don't embarrass me.
Come on, man.
50?
50?
I don't know. 8?
Supersonic Breakfast Toaster. New at Sonic. Sausage and bacon with pepper jack cheese or ham and bacon with smoky cheddar. Try one anytime with a premium roast iced or hot latte.
This is great.
Finally relaxing. Oh, boy, I really needed this. Oh.
Look at that. It's amazing.
Wow. I could stay here forever. I'll be in the car.
Okay.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
You can bring the whole family to see the Rangers play the Mariners on Tuesday. It's a free Kid Tuesday. Kids 13 and under get in free. One child ticket available with every full-price adult ticket purchased. Great deal. Sponsored by Radio Disney AM 620. 972 Rangers, the number to call tomorrow morning. Alberto Callaspo, the batter. And we begin the bottom of the 6th here in Kansas City. Well, the Rangers ran into some tough luck and good defense in the top of the 6th. Now Millwood right back to work. And he was behind Alberto Callaspo. Play to second base. Just not a lot of deep counts with these Kansas City Royals. And again, that for Millwood can be something that absolutely works in his favor. There have been games where we've seen Millie in the 3rd inning at 58 pitches. He's in the 6th inning at 58 pitches right now. First pitch strike to David DeJesus. We talked earlier about Jesus Tag normally being the engine for these guys. He has scored a run, though, in just one of his last 18 games.
Wow.
And I think that directly coincides with how the Royals have done their last 18 games. 3-15. Michael Young behind the bag. That scissor step and a throw. Kevin Millwood, 2 quick outs in the 6th inning. Throwing those first pitch strikes. Now, Jose Guillen, the batter, and definitely down the right field line anyway. He's hearing it as he comes to the plate. Remember, he got into it with a fan earlier tonight. Guillen has been somewhat combustible in the past. He's been well traveled in part because of that. Now they'll cheer him now. Base hit into center. Mark Teahen, the batter, he's 0 for 2. Again, talking about the lack of power for these Royals. They do have 10 home runs from Teahen, 17 from Guillen. Miguel Olivo's got 11, but this could be another one of those years, Tag, where they don't even have anybody at 25. We're told the Royals have been out-homered now over the last 2 weeks, 26-3. Rangers have had to work tonight on the offensive side of things. It all came very easily yesterday. 9 runs on 19 hits. That ball clubbed a foul by Teahen. On the scoreboard, Milwaukee's lead now 3-0 in St. Louis in the 6th inning. Washington has defeated the Dodgers 2-1.
Big games for St. Louis trying to battle in the wild card race. Can't afford to lose to Milwaukee.
Baltimore chop. Blaylock's got it to Millwood.
Nice play.
And they did get Mark Teahen to end the inning.
One of the first plays that Hanks had like that. Tricky little play with a flip to the pitcher, but he did it very well.
Yep, like it was no big deal. We are tied 1-1 at the end of 6.
Rangers, Royals, tomorrow on FSN Southwest.
Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines and by Corona. A 1-1 deadlock tonight as we go into the 7th inning, but as we get there, Tag, we've got a new Kansas City pitcher to tell everybody about. That is Ramon Ramirez. Zach Greinke gives up just 1 unearned run in this game.
Yeah, Greinke was terrific. That makes his last 3 starts about 18 or 19 innings. He's given up 1 earned run, and he's not going to have a win to show for it. Second time in 3 starts he hasn't given up an earned run and gotten a no decision.
Well, maybe now against Ramon Ramirez, the Rangers can get going again. That 1 run, that unearned run, a sac fly by Milton Bradley, scored Joaquin Arias way back in the 1st.
Well, Ramirez has been a nice addition to their bullpen.
Gerald Laird is not impressed with the resume. He's going to sock it right up the alley. And Laird is going to pull in a second base. He's got a leadoff double here in the 7th.
That was a rope. Ramirez has had 59 innings. Good number of relief innings. 225 opponent's batting average. He's only given up a couple of home runs, not many walks, and he struck out 61 in 59 innings. So he's been doing it for Kansas City, but that won't get it done. Ball almost near the center of the plate, and Gerald swinging a good bat. He's hit the ball hard a couple of times. He has a hard single off Greinke in the 4th inning. Now a leadoff double in the 7th. See if Ramon's trying to bunt him around. First base, third base, way in for Kansas City.
And there is the bunt. Hugging the line, and it's going to be first and third.
I don't know why he picked it up. He should have let it roll. They may have the foul line angled toward the pitcher's mound so that those balls don't go foul, maybe for a guy like Gathright. But that ball, they're first and third automatically. He might as well have let it roll till it stopped just to see what was going to happen. When he picks it up, the ball's still rolling. Doesn't look like it's going to go foul. I'll say that for him, but it was headed in that direction if it kept rolling. Picking it up just made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a 20% chance it rolls foul, but there was a 0% chance he was going to have a play at first.
If there was a
third.
1% chance, he should have let it roll. But Rangers will take it. First and third now, nobody out.
And Joaquin Arias the batter. Oh, but a first pitch that got him to go fishing right there. It's 0-1. The grounder is in the hole, and the play at the plate. Gerald Laird skids on the brakes, and down he goes. Well, that's too bad. It looked like it might be heading into left field. It never got there, and the Rangers couldn't score Laird.
A nice play by Aviles, a heads-up play. He's playing at double play depth. The ball's in the hole. I think generally Gerald would score on that ball. Not sure whether he got a little bit of a late jumper. If Aviles just got rid of it so quickly, he got it home. And I think if Gerald stayed at third, the best they could have done was get a force out at second base, and it still would have been first and third.
Now a grounder from Michael Young. They get one. They do not get two. Michael Young stays out of the double play.
Nice play by Glow to pick that ball so it didn't get by.
Now still an opportunity to get something done here. But now you've got two out. And it does bring up the leading RBI man in baseball, Josh Hamilton. Our Toyota truck game break coming up in just a bit. Josh yet to get the ball out of the infield tonight. And that stays the case. The Rangers had first and third and nobody out with the top third of the order up, but they could not get that tie-breaking run in. Millwood still looking at 1-1 here at the stretch as we send it back to the studio for that Toyota truck game break.
Hi, everyone, and welcome into your Toyota Truck Game Break. I'm Dana Larson. We'll get you back to Kansas City just a moment for the bottom of the 7th. After tonight, the Rangers have one more against the Royals. Then it's off to the West Coast. And not only will they begin a series with the Angels, but also begin their first series ever with instant replay. Bud Selig announced today that Major League Baseball will institute the use of instant replay starting Thursday to determine disputed home run calls, fair or foul, in or out of the ballpark, or because of fan interference. The first games to use it will be Minnesota at Oakland, Texas at Anaheim, and the Phillies and Cubs series. Be sure to join us after the game for complete post-game coverage on Rangers Live. Steve Busby will join me in studio. Josh and Tom will give us post-game analysis. Enjoy the rest of the game. We'll see you then.
The pitcher's duel tonight between Zach Greinke and Kevin Millwood is now actually Millwood against the Kansas City bullpen. Greinke went 6. And Millwood so far in his 6. Very nice work. He's got to face Billy Butler, goes after the first pitch. And grounds out. And again, that conspires to keep the pitch count nice and low for Kevin Millwood.
Well, the one thing you do as a pitcher against the Royals is throw borderline pitches on the first pitch. A pitch good enough to make them swing, but enough out of the strike zone where they can't do much with it. Let them try to put it in play weakly like that, get a quick out, rather than go deep in the count.
Ross Glode 0 for 2. Well, he didn't swing at the first pitch, but he swings at the second pitch. And into the corner. That's Marlon Byrd to go get it. Well, it looks a lot like what we talked about with Millwood against the Tigers last time out.
Even same type of results, even better pitch count, even lower. John Pace finished the game with barely 100 pitches, under 100 pitches actually.
Seven Royals have gotten some kind of result on the first pitch, putting it in play somehow. Oliva was a first pitch swinger last time. He had that RBI double. Tell you one thing, it's tough to rack up a big strikeout total against a team like Kansas City. If they're going to swing at the first or second pitch all the time, you need 3 strikes for a strikeout. Millwood did strike out Olivo back in the 3rd. And gets him to pop a foul ball up in the air right here.
And the other theme that's very similar to the Detroit theme is a lot of fastballs. Not many curveballs, not many changeups. He's thrown some hard cutters, which is a variation of his fastball. But he really hasn't needed to go to the off-speed pitches very much. He's having a lot of success just locating his fastball where he wants to.
Jammed him, but that's a base hit. Olivo's the one guy who seems to be able to do much of anything against Millwood tonight. He's 2 for 3. Joey Gathright comes up, and our Fruit of the Loom field for the game. The catch made by Joey Gathright to rob Hank Laylock. Joey Gathright without a home run this year, and pretty much every year you can say that about Gathright. He'd be an inside the park candidate, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
2 home runs as a professional. One was as a Durham Bull in 2005. And then one was, as a Kansas City Royal in 2006. Off Joel Pinheiro. That is the only home run he's got in the big leagues in 1,100 big league at bats. Ground ball. And he spikes his bat, not happy with how that all went for him. That's a second pitch that is put in play. And again, a nice, quick, easy inning for Kevin Millwood. Tied at 1-1 at the end of 7.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Texas Rangers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Texas Rangers.
College football presented by Suzuki returns to FSN Southwest Thursday. 23rd ranked Wake Forest taking on the Baylor Bears. Our coverage of college football begins at 7 on Thursday in high definition right here on FSN Southwest. Well, the Rangers trying to break a 1-1 tie. The hits are even as well. 6-6. This is the same Ranger team that pounded out 19 hits yesterday. But Zach Greinke doing some good work for 6 innings. And then, well, the Rangers had a great chance last inning against Ramon Ramirez. Ramirez figured out a way out of it. Now the Rangers will try to get it going again here in the top of the 8th.
Well, the Rangers faced a hot pitcher last night. Gil Mesh had been pitching well. Greinke has been pitching well too and was just a little bit better tonight. He held the Rangers down. But Ramirez was a nice pickup before the season started. They got him from Colorado. He's put together some nice numbers for Kansas City out of the bullpen. Pitched out of a big-time jam, 1st and 3rd, nobody out with the infield back. Still got out of it.
The way the Royals would love to script this here is to take some sort of lead late and get Joakim Soria, their closer, into the game. It's a Joakim Soria t-shirt night tonight. And he has had a great year for Kansas City, an all-star.
You know what they're calling him now?
What's that?
The Mexicutioner.
Viva Soria is the t-shirt giveaway tonight. I have to admit, I like that.
Pretty catchy. He's getting that Mexicutioner's arm ready right now.
We celebrate with Viva Cuervo on the FSN tracker. Down too low to Milton Bradley. Another 3-2 count. That just seems to be affixed to Milton's at bats. That 3-2. Might as well just put it up there on the scoreboard. Save time.
Ramirez has had a lot of innings too. We mentioned that 59 innings. Maybe getting a little tired as the season winds down.
Milton once again draws a walk. We're apparently continuing the theme here. We flash you back to the SAP broadcast with Eleno. Get a pinch runner for it's Brandon Boggs in for Bradley. Well, Milton tonight, you know, here's a perfect example of how Milton Bradley helps the Rangers even when he's not getting base hits. He had the sac fly for the 1 Ranger run tonight.
He's a major force is what he is.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, and 2 walks, so he continues to lead the league in on-base percentage.
If you pitch to him, he'll beat you with his bat. If you don't pitch to him, he'll walk and beat you on the bases.
Time called. Olivo will go out to the mound. Now, Blaylock and Bird will have their opportunities here. In a game where the Rangers have stranded 8, they've had their chances tonight. The Royals have Leo Nunez getting ready in the bullpen. One strike to Blaylock, who remember was robbed of a double by Gathright last time up. Hit the ball real well. Here's Nunez getting ready. Big swing and just a little chopper. Olivo off balance, throws it away. And Brandon Boggs revs it to third, being waved around. Here he comes. He is going to score. The Rangers lead 2-1.
It's a nice try by Olivo. It's a tough play. And in a game like this, a 1-1 game, you're trying to get the out. And he gave it everything he had. It was just a real tough play for him to make. Would have taken a perfect play to make that play. And in his haste, he rushed his throw and gave the Rangers a break. You can't fault the effort. He's going after it, trying to get the out. Just didn't work out for him.
Single E2, no RBI, and the decision to pinch run Boggs works out very well. Olivo started with the ball and ended up with the ball on that play. Now a visit from the pitching coach, Bob McClure. And everybody else comes into the mound too.
Hey, just as we talk about Milton Bradley, that's technically not his run because Boggs scored, but it's his base runner. He's the one that got on the walk. He started the inning. He started it with a good eye and patience.
Folks, stay informed all year with MLB.com mobile team alerts. Sign up by texting Get Rangers to 65426. Standard text and data rates do apply. Data or data?
I've said it both ways.
Me too.
I mean, I normally say data, but I've heard a lot of people say data.
Okay.
I think you can say it either way.
I'm past it. Pitch is high to Marlon Byrd. Marlon's a good candidate here to get this really going now. Hottest hitter the Rangers have had the last 3 weeks. I don't know if you remember, Tag, but back here in June when the Rangers played in Kansas City, this is how they were winning games, with big innings late. They had a 7-run 7th and a 4-run 7th in that series. Now they're looking to get something big time done in the 8th. On the ground, past the mound. Aviles will throw and capture Marlon Byrd. That's only the first out of the inning, though. Blaylock moves to third. And the RBI opportunity presents itself for Nelson Cruz.
I'm sure the Royals have played the infield in right here, but credit Marlon with hitting the ball to the left side of the shortstop, which allowed the runner to get to third. They've got to play the infield in right here.
Now they'll come in at the
Maybe
corners.
they're going to walk him.
Yeah, they're going to walk Nelly Cruz. Try to set up that double play. But Gerald Laird, remember, though, just clobbered one against Ramirez last inning.
Yeah, based on the way Gerald's looked recently and in this game, I feel pretty good about Gerald being the one coming up right now, swinging the bat good. Well,
you think they go to Nunez just because of the very recent success that Gerald had against Ramirez?
Maybe. Ramirez has done a nice job for him, and it's not like he's been pounded this inning. Had a walk and a swinging bunt. I'm not sure what the matchups show. Probably not a big sample. We'll see what he decides to do.
So Cruz does not get a chance to swing the bat. The Rangers have taken a 2-1 lead here in the 8th. Yeah, and here's where the Rangers can blow it open against the Arlington Natives team. Trey Hillman. Batting average in the mid-280s for Gerald Laird. Swinging, and he fouls it. Crowd of 17,004 watching the game in Kansas City tonight. Same two teams tomorrow night, and then the Rangers move on to Anaheim. 4 games against the Halos. And Nelson Cruz does have base stealing speed, as you know. A couple of dozen steals at AAA this year to go with his 37 home runs.
When Ramirez gets in trouble, he likes to go to his changeup. He struck out a batter per inning, and that's the pitch he uses to strike him out with, but not going for the strikeout there.
Nope, going for the ground ball, and he got it. A 6-4-3 double play. Rangers settle for 1 run and lead it 2-1.
Rangers, Royals, tomorrow on FSN Southwest.
Kevin Millwood goes back to work and now does so with a 2-1 lead. The Rangers have stranded 9 tonight. Makes you a little bit nervous. They've had chances to lead by more than 2-1. But you hope that's enough coming on down the stretch. Mike Aviles, Alberto Callaspo, and David DeJesus top of the order for Kansas City.
And Trey Hillman's strategy to walk Cruz to set up the double play definitely came into play. Turned out to be a good move for him, even though I like the fact that Gerald was the one up there.
Well, there's a base hit on into center field for Aviles. His first hit tonight. And now a 9-game hitting streak for him. As for your AT&T Your World moment, Kevin Millwood will be a part of that. Show you a bit about his night tonight. Kevin Millwood delivered.
He's had good stuff tonight, as we've talked about. Good location with his fastball. Enough breaking balls to keep him honest. A lot of first pitch hitting by Kansas City. Hitting early in the count. Kept his pitch count down. Good solid pitch count for him. And a fairly cool night to go along with it.
There's the bunt. Millwood fields. Shot puts it over to first base. And Callaspo did his job.
They got the middle of the order coming up right now. DeJesus has had a single. Guillen's had a couple of hits.
With the pitch count only around 80 for Kevin Millwood, there's no action in the Ranger bullpen. Remember, Kevin coming off of 9 innings against the Tigers. Little pop-up on a first pitch swing from DeJesus. Wow.
First pitch hitting and a bad pitch right there.
Well, and again, you know, if that's what the Royals are going to keep doing, and Millwood's a smart cookie, he's just making pitches that will induce guys to not hit the ball real hard.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is throw them a strike on the first pitch. That was a cutter. Came in on the fist. It's up out of the strike zone. Jammed him.
That was only the second Royals at bat all night with a runner in scoring position, too. The Rangers have had 12 of those opportunities. They're only 1 for 12, with the one hit being the bunt. Now the cleanup man, the always dangerous Jose Guillen, will not take the bait. He's up in the count 1-0.
In this situation, I think that the worst thing you can do is throw Guillen a strike. He's only walked 19 times all year. And even though it would be a go-ahead run, he's really the one veteran force in the middle of their lineup.
Couple of curveballs. That one a good one. 1-1.
Kept it away from him.
Fastball, but not in the zone. Mark Teahen next. To right field. And Millwood is out of it with a 2-1 lead at the end of 8 here in Kansas City.
Favorite sport other than baseball to play would be golf, to watch football.
Scott Feldman brought to you by Dodge, your Texas truck stop. He went 7 innings yesterday. Didn't walk anybody. Kevin Millwood has one-upped him tonight. Has gone 8 innings. Hasn't walked anybody. And Kevin and the Rangers leading 2-1 into the 9th inning. New pitcher to tell you about for Kansas City. That is Leo Nunez.
Well, the Rangers have scored twice, both unearned runs.
Vasquez with the foul. There are the numbers on Nunez getting into his 34th game of 2008. It is possible, Tag, that Zach Greinke will, for a second time this year, lose a 2-1 game to the Rangers.
He'll lose. The Royals will lose the game. He'll get a no decision. Right. But yeah, he's pitched well against him twice with nothing to show for it. 0-1 and a no decision.
If this stands, it'll be 2-1 wins for the Rangers this year. They'll have both been in games that Zach Greinke started against the Rangers. Vasquez is swinging a foul. For the moment, there's no action in the Ranger bullpen at all. The Kevin Millwood pitch count, again, so manageable all night. He's at 84 through 8 innings. Vasquez pops it into left. Out number 1. Not only hasn't Millwood walked anybody, Tag, there's been only 1 at bat all night that went any longer than 5 pitches. Ross Glode had a 7-pitch at bat at one point, but been a couple of 5-pitch at bats. For the most part, it's been 1s and 2s for Kansas City.
You think of some of those Cleveland games where there were probably 5 or 6 at bats for both teams that were more than 6 or 7 pitches in one game. That's unusual. But not unusual for the Royals, I would guess.
No, I mean, it's just a very stark contrast. You're right. You play the Indians for 3, then the Royals for 3. It's just you can really tell what a difference a collective hitting approach makes. Arias does it again. Boy, he just keeps on cranking out base hits. On his way to second. Boy, he gets around in a hurry, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he just
can run. I don't think he was looking for a double out of the batter's box. He didn't really turn it on until he got halfway to first base, realized he had a shot at it.
There was no contest at second base, so the Rangers have a potential insurance run standing out there in scoring position.
Oh, he turns it on now.
Go. Michael Young to the plate. Michael had a hit in the first inning, set up the game's first run. And check out how DeJesus got it in. That didn't help.
Couldn't get it out of his glove, it looked like. I don't think it mattered, but
that's what made it no contest, though.
That's what made it simple.
Rammed out of play by Young. It's 0-2. In the bottom of the 9th, it'll be Teahen, Butler, and Glode coming up. They are a combined 1 for 9 tonight. And again, the Rangers with C.J. Wilson on the DL and Eddie Guardado in Minnesota. If there is a closer that'll show up. We're looking for Frankie Francisco. But again, with the Millwood pitch count in the mid-80s, well, you figure Kevin's got at least 20 more pitches in him tonight, right?
Yeah, I don't think you take your ace out for that many pitches on a fairly cool night when he's pretty much cruising along.
Well, the Rangers, who went without a complete game all last year, they've got a shot to get 2 in a row from Millwood here in 2008. Bouncing ball at second base.
I think the only time you would think about doing something like that would be maybe if you had Mariano Rivera as your closer and you're in a pennant race. And good job by Michael right there, trying to get that base hit to right field, but hit it right at the second baseman.
Frankie will get his opportunity. It just might not be tonight.
With 2 strikes, Michael loves to go the other way. He hit the ball solidly, but just hit it right straight at the second baseman.
Hamilton, a couple strikeouts, a couple groundouts tonight. Hamilton socking that one right field. It goes back to the warning track. It is going to be caught on the run by Jose Guillen. So it stays just a 1-run game. And Kevin Millwood will try to soldier out there and bring it on in. It is a 2-1 ball game. The Lincoln Mercury Betterview pitching matchup for the game coming up tomorrow. Matt Harrison goes for the Rangers and Brian Bannister for KC. 7 o'clock is when Tom and I will be talking to you, getting ready for a 7:10 first pitch tomorrow night. Rangers Live will set it up at 6:30. Kevin Millwood looking for back-to-back complete game wins. But a very thin margin with which to work right now. It's 2-1. And Mark Teahan helps him out by tapping the first one to second base.
That's the theme of this game. Go up there hacking.
And again, give Millwood credit. He's not grooving anything. He's throwing pitches that are tantalizing enough that the Royals will swing. But they're just not hitting them well. And the Rangers, meantime, scoring their 2 runs, tagged neither run coming on a hit. There was an error and a sac fly.
Well, Butler was taken all the way right there. That was actually a pretty good pitch to hit. I don't think he's going to see that one again. Well, dropped a curveball on the outside corner to him.
Not even at 90 pitches for the night. Yeah, that first one was the one to be swinging at, huh?
Yeah, and then the next one's a little bit outside.
The 0-2. Definitely a good idea not to swing at that one.
Good block by Gerald just in case he did swing it. Keep it from being a wild pitch.
Frankie Francisco getting ready just in case. But right now, again, pitch count of 88 for Millwood. Curveball fouled into the crowd. Don't forget, Rangers Live coming up after the ball game is done. To right field, a base hit, a 2-strike hit for Billy Butler. Now you got to be a little careful here. The winning run comes up.
Jason Smith is going to come in and run for Butler.
Well, pitch it was up, but Butler decided to swing, and he had a good result. The infield, the double play depth. Olivo on deck, but here is Ross Gload. Fly ball into center. Josh Hamilton back. He's got it. That is out number 2.
Well, Gload hit that ball pretty well, but there's a lot of room out in center field for Josh to roam, and he didn't have a problem getting underneath it. In the 5th inning, when the Royals scored, Tian made the first out. Butler singled. Gloss made an out, and that's when Oliva doubled off the wall to bring in the only run.
Miguel Olivo's throwing error is what gave the Rangers a 2-1 lead in the first place. And now he's up with a chance to tie or even win the game.
Well, he had the double in the 5th to knock in a run. Then he had a single in the 7th inning, so he's 2 for 3 against Kevin.
A flare and a right, a base hit. Tying man at second, winning man at first, Joey Gathright will be the batter. Boy, nothing's easy, huh? Esteban Herman has come out on deck instead of Gathright, a one-time Ranger, and they'll huddle up here. You know, we haven't even seen Andy Hawkins out all night tonight. I mean, that's how well it's gone for Millwood. Not only hasn't there been a pitching change, there hasn't been a visit from the pitching coach yet. All right, what to do? What to do? The infielders are wondering if Wash is coming out. It's Hawkins coming out instead. "93 pitches for Millwood, 68 of which have been strikes." Maybe this is just a quick little scouting report on Herman.
Yeah, I would guess that's what it is. And I'm sure he's making sure Kevin's okay, but I can't imagine that. I mean, Kevin's throwing the ball fine. They've had a couple of little singles against him this inning, but he's throwing the ball fine. He's not going to come out of this game right now.
Herman, for whatever it's worth, the last couple of years, been very good with runners in scoring position. But it's kind of unusual. You get a right-hander to get up there to face the right-hander.
That's all they got, though.
Two on, two out. And a ground ball. Michael Young's got it, going to second. Ball game. Another complete game for Kevin Millwood. 94 pitches all the way home. A 2-1 final.
Well, it's kind of fitting that the last out of the game in a tight situation would be a first pitch out and a ground ball. Kevin didn't walk a batter today, struck out 2. And although he had a couple of jams to get out of, for the most part, he cruised all the way along.
12 times tonight, Kansas City put the first one in play. And this last time would literally be the last time. That's it.
They gave up 9 hits, but they were pretty much spread out throughout the game. They had 2 hits in the 5th when they scored a run, and then 2 hits in the 9th when he pitched out of that two-man on jam. Other than that, they had a hit here and there, but another excellent performance for Kevin. Gave the bullpen another nice rest.
The Rangers haven't walked a Kansas City Royal in 2 games. They win 2-1. We're back after this.
Well, the Rangers win back-to-back games for the first time in 21 days, and they do it thanks to back-to-back complete games by Kevin Millwood. Hi, everyone. Welcome into the FSN Studios. Rangers Live coming up in just a moment. Dana Larson and Steve Busby here with you. And, Buzz, this was a well-pitched game on both sides, but Millwood just in his zone right now.
Yeah, he is really on a good roll. And boy, we talked about it in the pregame about how important it is for Kevin, but also for the ball club. I mean, these complete games are great. They're a nice statistic. But most importantly, they give Ron Washington the ability to forget about the bullpen. Give those guys the rest, and heaven knows they deserve the rest after this year.
They absolutely do. Yeah. The most innings pitched by any bullpen in baseball. Right. Kevin Millwood says he wants to make up for lost time. He is doing so with these last two outings. We're going to continue to talk about Millwood's latest complete game. We've got post-game reaction coming up from his battery mate, and more with Josh and Tom in just a moment.
Texas Ranger Baseball brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Please don't fly with us. Visit southwest.com and by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. The Rangers 2-0 on the road trip. A 2-1 win tonight. Tom and I are coming back momentarily. Stay tuned. Dana and Buzz have Rangers Live next on FSN Southwest.
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
Aflac. The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac. Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Well, once again, it was Kevin Millwood starting and finishing the game. Tonight, he gets his third complete game of the year, a 2-1 win over the Royals, and the Rangers picking up some nice momentum on this road trip to Kansas City. Welcome to Rangers Live. Dana Larson and Steve Busby here with you. Our post-game coverage is just beginning. We're headed back to Kansas City to hear from Ron Washington just a few minutes. An update on David Murphy, who is making strides in his recovery, is also on the way. And Buzz's take on instant replay. It is here, whether you like it or not. All of that is coming up. But first, Buzz, Kevin Millwood, 94 pitches tonight, 69 of them strikes. You take that ratio every night.
Oh, every night. You know, folks, there's been a lot of discussion about a definition of a quality start, and it gets bantered back and forth. Let me make a suggestion. Go back and view the start that Kevin Millwood had against Detroit and look at video of tonight's game and just solidify that in your mind as these are quality starts. Nothing more said than a W after 9 innings of one-run baseball. That's quality.
That is quality. For more now on the Man of the Hour, we go back to Kauffman Stadium. That's where Josh Loon and Tom Grieve are standing by with more, guys.
So much fun when there's pitching and defense. You know, it just makes such a difference. And Kevin Millwood now, back-to-back starts have just been great.
Yeah, and Gerald Laird said it after the game. Kevin may not have had his best fastball, but he located it well. The Royals were swinging early in the count, and Kevin took advantage of that. A lot of the pitches were just a little bit out of the strike zone, maybe on the corner where they really couldn't get a good piece of it. They put him in play for quick outs. He threw a lot of fastballs in the game. He threw some curveballs, important curveballs, threw a lot of cutters. He got a good cutter into David DeJesus late in the ball game that jammed him with men on base. But overall, Kevin just kept pounding the strike zone, making quality pitches, and for the second straight start, ended up with a complete game, and that's what you love to see from your ace, what you want to see from Kevin.
And the first back-to-back complete game wins for Kevin Millwood in the big leagues. Our esteemed producer Kurt Dykert tells us you got to go back to Darren Oliver, 1996, the last time a Ranger threw back-to-back complete game wins. Wow. So that's pretty cool stuff to talk about. Kevin Millwood, first time in a dozen years somebody gets that done. Rangers, especially the way it's gone this year, they'll take that in a heartbeat. Guys, we send it back to you.
You got that right, Josh and Tom. Thank you much. We'll talk to you tomorrow about tomorrow's finale in Kansas City. More with Kevin Millwood. Let's look back at those two last games. His stat line, very, very good in those games. And you see the combination here. The good news is that they were both W's, because early in the season, he had a complete game loss. That was unfortunate. However, these last two have been very good. What stands out to you here, Buzz?
Well, the W's, to be quite honest, and I can't overemphasize that. You know, this is still a business of winning at the major league level, especially. And Kevin Millwood has pitched 9 innings in both of his last 2 games. But the W's are what stand out to me. 15 base hits, just 2 earned runs allowed, 6 walks in the 18 innings. All great statistics, but the W's make the difference. You know, and what Tom was talking about too, about you know, not his best stuff. Well, Gerald Laird said it wasn't his best stuff. Kevin said it wasn't his best stuff after the last start. But the results were the same, and that's what's important, is you're able to pitch with not your greatest stuff. There are a lot of guys out there that throw 95, 97 miles an hour and just get beaten up like a redheaded stepchild. But not Kevin Millwood, because he knows what to do with the stuff he has on any given night. It's where you throw the ball, not exactly what you're throwing. And Kevin Millwood made some great pitches tonight, had some good defense behind him too.
And it wasn't about the run support he was getting. No. In the last one, he got a lot of it, 9 runs in that game against Detroit. Tonight, just 2, but you know what? That'll do it. When you're just giving up 1, that will do it. 2-1 is the final tonight. Rangers winning Game 2 in Kansas City. We've talked a little bit about Gerald Laird. We're going to hear from the man who had the best seat in the house on this one. Gerald Laird is coming up in just a moment. Rangers Live, your post-game show. We'll be back after this.
Get to know the Rangers inside and out as FSN Southwest gets you up close and personal with your favorite players. This is the show built just for Rangers fans. Rangers Insider, Friday on FSN Southwest.
Rangers Live is brought to you by Natty Light. Now you're talking.
Oh, look at that play. Joaquin Arias.
He looked like a butterfly going after that ball.
Off the wall, played beautifully by Bird. Olivo not even close. And at the wall for Gathwright, who takes it away. Olivo off balance, throws it away. And Brandon Boggs is going to score. And a ground ball. Michael Young's got it, going a second. Ball game. Another complete game for Kevin Millwood.
You know what they're calling him now?
What's that?
The Mexicutioner.
Very good one, Tom Grieve. Welcome back to Rangers Live. Dana Larson and Steve Busby here with you. One more in Kansas City before the Rangers take off for Anaheim. Game 2 of that series with the first-place Angels, supposed to be Vicente Padilla's start. However, he was unable to throw his bullpen session today because of continuing soreness in that muscle between his shoulder and neck. If he can throw tomorrow, he will still be on track for Friday. If he cannot go, Dustin Nippert would likely come out of the bullpen for a spot start. As for tonight, middle game in KC, and it was Kevin Millwood's night indeed on the mound for the Rangers. Coming off of that complete game win last week, Kevin had the defense going behind him tonight. Check out Joaquin Arias in the first inning. Great stab, getting Micah Vilas. Worth another look. Good play. Very good. Then, how about another one? This one, our Whataburger play of the game, coming courtesy to you of Michael Young. And it's Aviles again, and Young with a bare hand gets it. Another good defensive play by the Rangers, but the Royals flashing a little leather as well. Hank Blaylock with a big drive to center field, but check out Joey Gathwright. Oh, robbing Blaylock of extra bases, timing that jump perfectly. Royal starter Zach Greinke looking very relieved. Nice play. Love that defense. More from the Royals. More of the same. Marlon Bird hitting one right off Greinke over to Aviles. Aviles gets the scoop from us. What another nice play. How about this one? Tied at 1 in the 8th, and which defense would blink first? Blaylock with a little tapper. Miguel Olivo. Pounces on the ball, promptly throws it into right field. Brandon Boggs. Pinch running for Milton Bradley. He was on first, and he comes all the way around to score and takes a 2-1 lead Kevin Millwood still going in the 8th with a runner on second. Millwood gets the red-hot Jose Dian to fly out to right field to end a mini jam. Then Millwood in the 9th, looking to finish this one off for his second complete game in a row. Runners on first and second, but Millwood gets Herman on the force out, and that does it. Millwood's second complete game victory in a row. Beating the Royals. 2-1 is the final. The Rangers back to 65 and 68 on the year. Millwood above that 500 mark with his 8th win of the year. Gerald Laird had a great view of this one and had this to say after the game.
Gerald Laird, kind enough to join us, and we got to ask you about Kevin Millwood, obviously, here, G. That was some kind of performance tonight again.
Oh, yeah, he threw the ball really well. You know, I don't think he had his best fastball, but, you know, he had a good location tonight, and he's mixing all his pitches in and throwing everything for a strike and keeping off balance, and when he does that, he's dominating.
Gerald, that's the second complete game in a row for Kevin. If you had to compare the last 2 games to the rest of the season, what's different with Kevin in the last 2 starts?
Just, you know, it seemed like he got confidence from that last start, and, you know, he's mixing his pitches up, and he's using all his pitches, and he's commanding the strike zone. You know, he's not missing very much over the middle of the plate, and when runners get on, he's making pitches to get out of it, getting double plays, and that's just the difference from the beginning of the season where, you know, guys get on, he leave a pitch over the middle, and then, you got a crooked number up there. Tonight, he just left the pitches down, and he got a lot of ground balls.
All right, we need at least one question about Gerald Laird now, too. That double that you hit tonight, that's about as hard as I've seen you hit a ball. That ball was smoked.
Yeah, I hit that ball pretty good. I mean, and he left a fastball over the plate and just put a good swing on it. And, you know, it felt really good. Those 2 base hits tonight felt real good, and just trying to get my swing back on track.
Gerald, thank you so much for joining us. Great win tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Gerald.
No problem, guys.